bereaved. It used the opportunity to reiterate its position that the leadership of the military in Niger restores constitutional order and focus on the security of the country, which has become increasingly fragile since a coup last month which deposed Mohamed Bazoum. The National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA, is set to introduce a QR code system to ensure only approved books are sold on the market. The Director General, Professor Edward Appiah, who made this known during an inspection of selected schools in Accra, hinted of plans to ban sole authorship of books in order to bring sanity into the system.
We are coming up with QR codes, which will be on all approved books, so that anybody who buys, you can just scan and then you'll be able to know the book, whether it's approved, the details, the day it was approved, the quantity in the circulation. One of the things that we are even trying to do is to avoid sole authorship. We think that for the textbooks to be enriched, you need to have more than 2 or 3 authors.
All cybersecurity service providers and professionals in the country are expected to register for license and accreditation from the Cybersecurity Authority by September 30 this year. Failure to do so, according to the authority, will result in the imposition of administrative penalties and possible prosecution.
By the end of September, that is starting 1st of October, any entity that offers cybersecurity services in Ghana without the license, at least either provisional license to start with, that will be a breach of the law. And that is where we are seeking collaboration with the PPA to enforce.
Well, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. Keep your eyes on this, the price board. This is just one of the price boards of the major oil marketing companies in this country. Specifically, I'm talking about GOIL. And a number of you have shared this increase in petrol prices, which took effect today. Today is the beginning of the second pricing window in the month of August, by the way. So this is what we've seen. Petrol selling at 13 cedis 50 pesos and diesel selling at 13 cedis 90 pesos per liter. Now, if you want to know how this is impacting on you, multiply this by 4.5%. You get how much you're buying a gallon of petrol and diesel now. So if you do the multiplication for instance, for petrol, you are now buying petrol, 1 gallon of petrol for about 63 Ghana cedis. 63 Ghana cedis. That's how things are looking like now. And you know that when fuel prices goes up, it affects almost everything on the market. So if you do the multiplication, you know. But look at this, right? Prior to this increase, a liter of petrol was selling at 12 cedis to 95, and same as diesel, 12.95. But then, even before this pricing window today, for those of you who are very observant, you saw that there was an increase in the prices at the pumps on Friday. Even before this second pricing window, the OMCs increased the prices at the pumps. And then it led to this. Now, there are fundamental questions that are being raised about how this Gold for Oil program, the evidence of the Gold for Oil program on the pricing of petroleum products at the pumps, because as for you and I consumers, we want to see the evidence. We want to see whether indeed the gold and the money that we are using to purchase consignments of petrol and diesel under this Gold for Oil program is actually impacting on the prices at the pumps. These are the fundamental questions that experts are asking. But if you look at how things are playing out, The information that we have from our sources at the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, is that since the beginning of the Gold for Oil program, from January to date, we have received a total of petrol and diesel cargoes, 17 of them, 17 petrol and diesel cargoes delivered under this Gold for Oil program. Total diesel cargoes delivered is 9 from January to date. Total petrol cargoes delivered, 8. Total metric tons of diesel delivered, 327,724 metric tons of diesel delivered under this Go for Oil program. And then for petrol, 277,677. In fact, what we are hearing from our sources is that another diesel cargo is currently the Anchorage, getting ready to offload. Now, so if we are getting these volumes, is it enough to have any fundamental or as it were significant impact on the prices of petroleum products at the pumps? Because guess what? When fuel prices begin to see this upward adjustment, you know what's going to happen? This cascading effect. Everything else is going to feel it, including inflation. And when inflation goes up, policy rate goes up, then you also see the reference rate going up, and then cost of credit, your loans, you're going to pay more, and everything else. So we're keeping an eye on what's happening at the pumps. We get some questions to the NPA to help us with some answers to exactly what's going on. But we hit the streets earlier today. Take a look at what the drivers told us.
It was 12 cedi, 95 pesos, but this morning I'm just waking up and like unknowingly it's now 13 cedis, 50 pesos, and the system is already hard already. The government should do something about it.
See fuel about 11.5, obi tons 11.19, but now me say to say as I got 13, obi 13.5. I am wonder. Say yes we no na ye and I adwuma ye isu fuel na isu.
I say abani sure about fuel. Emma kroye din because ufa nema ko charging crop for no mu kasa about fuel. I say on share no more fuel so on to me you sure. Almost fuel in one place.
We are trying small to do something, but you can't depend on the petrol and the government alone.
They are coming to increase fuel, like they have to alert us because we didn't know that they are coming to increase fuel.
If the fuel increment come like this, I think last month they increased it. This month, this is the second time they have increased the fuel.
95 pesos, but this morning I'm just waking up and like unknowingly it's now 13 cedis, 50 pesos, and the system is already hard already. The government should do something about it.
See fuel about 11.5, obi tons 11.19, but now me say to say as I got 13, obi 13.5. I am wonder.
Well, so that's what's happening, indeed, the reactions to this. And if you look at the margin of increase, it's about 90 pesos per litre, and that's quite significant, to say the least. So stay with us. We've got to do a lot more of that. But coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, the family of the slain investigative journalist Ahmed Swale is mounting a fierce campaign against the presidential bid of Kennedy Agyapong, who says he is unapologetic about the killing of the Tiger IPI journalist. We'll hear from the family and some media foundation as well. We'll be speaking about this here on Ghana Tonight. Earlier today, the Member of Parliament for Asin Central and the flag bearer aspirant of the MPP, Kennedy Agyapong, was in the studios of TV3 and said that he is not apologetic about the killing of investigative journalist Ahmed Swale. He spoke earlier to my colleague, Roland Walker.
You journalists in this country, about 80%, 90%, you are the people going to destroy this country.
How so?
Yeah, because you misconstrue people's ideas. Whatever the person puts out there, the import of what the person puts out there, you never even analyze it. You only take just a second of a statement made out of the whole statement, let's say 8 minutes. You take about 30 seconds.
What were you trying to describe in that video?
Yeah, and I still maintain it because I will not come here today and tell you that I want to be president and therefore what is the truth, I'll say is not the truth. It is. He's a bad guy, or he was. And let me tell you, if you don't have the evidence, Anas used them.
How did he use him?
Good. All those people that Anas destroyed with his videos and everything, Anas never showed his face, except this guy. This guy was bold to set everybody up. I have a lot of videos. Gentlemen, if you have time and you come to my house, I'll show you all the videos. There's not, with the exception of the Ivorian videos that I have that you see Anas's face after the interview with the Ivorian ministers that he was entrapping. All the entrapment, it was Ameswali who was sitting down with some fake Arabs who were saying that they were from the family of Sheikh Atani. So until a video comes out, you will never know that is Anas.
Well, so that and many other things Kenneth Japan said, including a point about paying the fees of Ahmed Swale. But Ibrahim Kamilu Tahidu is a brother of the late Ahmed Swale. He's joining us on Zoom for a conversation on this session by Kenneth Japan. Thank you so much, Ibrahim Kamilu Tahidu, for your time here on Ghana Tonight. You've heard Kenneth Japan. Upside, he's saying, describing your late brother, in his words, as a bad person. He says that he actually even went ahead to pay his fees, and people recognize him when he came to his company, that this is a person he's paid his fees before. Is this something the family is aware of?
I think this is not the first time we are trying to let Japan know that he has never spent a pesewa on our brother, and he should desist from that, making such statements. But I don't know why he keep mentioning that wherever he goes. Also, we heard Ken trying to disassociate himself from the incident. And I don't see how that can be done. When you sit on your TV, show public, and to your incitement, people adhere to that and did your bidding. Then you come back to tell the nation you are not involved. How is that possible? You can bear me witness. Until Ken shows Ahmed pictures on his TV station. Did you know Ahmed, if I may ask? And he wants us to believe him. How is that possible? Even if you are not the one behind the assassination, you cooked all that because you started everything. You show his pictures, ask the public to deal with him, that you are the richest man, you pay for the cost, and they did that for you. Fine. We are saying as a family that you have succeeded, but let the sleeping dog lie. Leave our brother. Leave him, take him out of your issues. Let him rest. Why do you keep bringing him wherever you get the opportunity to talk? What has the poor boy done to him? That is our problem. That is what the family cannot really understand. What else Ken is looking for.
I see. But then again, with these consistent claims that he is making, because in your statements that you've issued, you cited this position that you are contesting. He's made it on a number of televisions and radio stations and a number of interviews, including this morning what he said here at TV3. So beyond this statement you've issued, what is the family going to do?
Ken thinks he's above the law. That is why consistently we are trying to stop him. Mm-hmm. He said he will not stop. Unfortunately, if our laws were properly working, Ken will not even see the daylight, not to talk such a character being a president of Ghana. Wouldn't it be better to be under military rule? We are saying because he's the chairman of the Defense and Interior Council, so our brother cannot get justice. Fine, he has the power, but he should let our brother rest in peace. That's what we are saying. And if we say this, are we asking for so much that he cannot listen to us because he's powerful or what? Again, Ken has said that he paid 1,500 for our brother's school fees. When did that happen? Which year? Because the family is saying we took absolutely care of everything concerning him. We are not rich, but we paid for his school fees. We took care of him until he completed his school. We are challenging Ken to come out with any evidence that he has, if he has ever paid anything to our brother.
I see.
Please leave us alone. In fact, we are still in pain. We are still mourning our loss. You should not add.
But what's the latest briefing that you, the family, you've received from the Ghana Police Service concerning the investigation into Ahmed Swale's murder?
In fact, we don't have anything from the police, because I think the last time we heard from the police was when this new IGP took over. He communicated with us, telling us he will do all he can to make sure he gets the people. But up to date, no single person has been arrested. Nothing new is going on. And as a family, we are not surprised. With Ken in charge, how can investigation go on? When the same people are telling us Ken is a suspect, that's one. The same Ken is the chairman of their Defense and Interior Council. Somebody who is heading all the chairman of the organization that is supposed to investigate a matter. And the same person is involved in the same matter. How are we expecting to get justice? So as a family, we have given everything to God.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time here. And it's quite troubling to say that you're actually giving up hope in the justice delivery system and say you're giving it to God. But thank you. Thank you for your time. Ibrahim Kamilu Tahidu is brother of slain Ahmed Swale there. They've issued a statement and also responding to some of the issues that Kenny Japan indicated earlier today. And we would have to apologize for those of you who are also drawing our attention to the situation on Facebook. We're fixing it to be able to stream live on Facebook. Apologies for that, but you're still live here on Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, the Economic Community of West African States is reporting of armed groups attack in Niger, killing several soldiers. Tonight, we go live to Niger to check on how the Ghanaian community, the Ghanaians there living in Niger, are faring. We have a security expert, Colonel Festus Wabwaje, is joining us tonight on matters arising in Niger. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na mkwan point no mo hwe me mogya mu no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro me fae no ene ma won kra mienu foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama no nura ene ne ho idea wotimi asori anante.
That's end point for you of Acrobato. Hello hey ohwehwe what che okay e free bra wo di end point wa dance am me call you no me Johnson sema na enkoyie e paso na my emre nyina na magina sebema na me no be for there e ho na nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. I'm free.
They came, they saw, and are set to conquer. Ghana's Strongest 2023 is at an end, and 4 men will compete for the title in the grand finale. Who wins this year's Ghana's Strongest? Will it be Godfred Akobila with 7 appearances, Bright Apia the Swatman, Takrada's finest Ebenezer Amos, or the new man, Jeffrey Ekufu? Don't miss this epic finale live on TV3 at the Obra Sports on Sunday, 20th August at 2 p.m. Ghana's Strongest, the power to do.
Catch Ghana's Strongest this Sunday only on TV3. Ghana's Strongest is powered by Gasem, the nation builder. Brought to you by Mixi Choco, Channel Hot,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Drugnet.
This water pouring on you from the rooftop signifies that in this life, rain shall fall on you, but nothing shall happen to you.
It's a week of fashion and glam on Ghana's Most Beautiful. This week, our beautiful contestants will grace the runway, showcasing exquisite outfits crafted by talented designers and featuring the latest collections from GTP. Get ready to be dazzled as they bring elegance, charm, and a touch of Ghanaian culture to the fashion world. It's a night of style, sophistication, and celebration, where fashion meets tradition and a breathtaking display of creativity and beauty. Exclusively on TV3 at 8 p.m. this Sunday. It's an eviction week and not less than 2 contestants will be evicted. To save your contestant from eviction, vote by dialing *713*13# or download the TV3 reality app to vote. GMB 2023, Ghana's beauty, Africa's pride.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Come On 20 Series, AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soup, Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Natural Spices, Vitamilk, Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Nescofa Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Frutelli Calipo, Duffy's Health and Beauty, Obuasi Bitters, Nubna Womwankasa, Dragnet, Shalatem, Top Choco, Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Makeup was done by House of Tara.
Hey! What do you do with some cool $2,000? Okay. Here to Win game show is exactly what you need. The only game show where you are already rich before you begin to play. Every week, 2 lucky people stand the chance of winning money. All you have to do is go through some quizzes and fun games. Somebody from Peru is called Perusian. Whatever you say, you have to be proud because your family people are watching you. Somebody from Madagascar is called Malagasy. Correct! Okay, let's go. It's you that will tell me let's go. You are not even winning. Okay?
Hold the stand and jump to fasting.
Amazing.
Jump, go.
Ayikwe Ama. Be proud. First of all, is Ayikwe supposed to be a man or a woman? Put it on your forehead. Ayikwe. Be a part of this game show right here on TV3 and take home some cash. Come join us on Here to Win game show where you win it all. Hey, ya mama! Hey, mama! Hey, ya mama! Hey, mama! Here to Win!
Here to Win shows Saturdays at 8 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Kill It Insecticide Spray.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live now. The Facebook challenge has been fixed. So we're live on Facebook, on TV3 Ghana, on Facebook, also on YouTube as well, on TV3 Ghana. You can connect with us. But the chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, and he's a member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Japan. Let's stay a bit further with him. He is a flag bearer hopeful of the MPP. He has backed the sending of Ghanaian troops to Niger in case the Economic Community of West African States, as ECOWAS, activates the military invasion. The West African sub-regional body has asked member states to form a standby force as an option to resolving the crisis in Niger. He spoke earlier on New Day on TV3.
We have obligation as ECOWAS members, and you cannot run away from it. Yesterday, I posed the question and answered it myself. Why is it that Burkina, Guinea, and Mali, we didn't go there, and now we are going to Niger?
Okay.
Again, I gave a solution to it that this should serve as a deterrent because it's becoming rampant. Coup d'etat is becoming rampant in ECOWAS. So we should use Niger to serve as a deterrent that anybody who tries again, ECOWAS will come after him. Okay. And this is not the first time.
All right.
We've done that in Liberia, Sierra Leone. We've done that in Gambia when Yahya Jammeh said he was not going to hand over power and all those things.
Well, so that's Kennedy Japan there. And let's go on to Zoom now and speak to Seydou Abudu. He's the president of the Ghanaian community in Niger, the Ghanaians living in Niger. And then also Colonel Festus Abuaje, retired, is a security expert, both of you joining us. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, I'll start off with you, Seydou. How are the Ghanaians there living in Niger doing as we speak?
Our main purpose is to see the safety of Ghanaians who are living in Niger. And we are having some meeting with the mission, the embassy, time to time, to know how best that we can protect the Ghanaians who are living here. Right now, I think the situation is okay. Everything is okay, but I think the sanctions of the ECOWAS is that one which is playing against us right now.
I see. The sanctions of ECOWAS are also impacting on it. But are there any reports of any Ghanaian being caught up in the crossfire in the conflict there?
Right now, as I'm speaking, all Ghanaians are safe. There's no one who's having any problem right now that I'm speaking. All the Ghanaians are safe.
I see. But do you have records of the total number of Ghanaians living in Niger?
Okay, right now, we are talking about 400 to 500 Ghanaians who are living in Niger.
Okay.
And Ghanaian community, we have created a WhatsApp group. So we are using that WhatsApp group so that in case of anything, we pass through the WhatsApp so that we can contact them and give them some guidelines so that they will know how to live, not to involve in the demonstrations and anything which is happening right now.
I see. But has there been any communication from the embassy there as to what you should do beyond what you yourselves as the leadership of the community is doing? You set up the WhatsApp group to try and bridge communication. Any official communication from the embassy?
Yeah, as I told you, we are having some meeting with them. Even last week, we had some meeting with them, and we have something that we have discussed that in case of any evacuation, we will know what to do. But we are coping. We are having some meeting with them right now.
I see. That should be some good news in there. But you see, the other concern that has always come up now is deliberations on the possible implications of ECOWAS choosing the option of a military intervention in Niger. For you, the Ghanaians living there, what would you say to our government as it deliberates on whether to contribute troops to ECOWAS or not?
Right now, we have some of the questions I cannot answer, but I'm not sure the ECOWAS intervention will come. I'm not sure. So we have some of the questions I cannot answer because they have advised us not to involve in the political side. So our main problem is to know how to communicate with the Ghanaians, so that how to advise them not to involve in anything which is happening right now. One thing that we have to know is if there is any intervention, it's not only Ghanaians, because we have so many foreigners here. We have Nigeria, we have Beninois, we have so many foreigners here. So if ECOWAS is going to use force, I think the foreigners who are living in this country, then we are going to have a big problem because they are going to attack us. That one is for sure.
That's concerning, to say the least, that you stand the risk of being attacked if ECOWAS chooses the option of a military intervention. But Colonel Festus Abuaje, you heard Kenneth Japong earlier. He's the chair of the Defense Interior Committee of Parliament. We understand yesterday there was a crucial meeting ahead of the meeting tomorrow of the security chiefs of ECOWAS. And his point is that we have signed onto treaties and we are a key member of ECOWAS. And so we are obligated, sort of, to contribute troops. Is it that Ghana doesn't have an option in this?
ECOWAS. Ghana is a member of the African Union. Ghana is a member of the United Nations. In terms of international law, within the framework of subsidiarity, the responsibility for the maintenance of global peace and security rests with the Security Council. So an ECOWAS decision per se is not the ultimate decision. And that's why in the communique of the 10th of August, ECOWAS requested the African Union and the UN to endorse its decision. On Monday, the information out there is that when the AU Peace and Security Council met, they could not arrive at a consensus. They were divided. In other words, Africa is not fully in coordination. And that is the only reason why the PSC did not arrive at a consensus. And if we go by international law, and AU does not endorse the ECOWAS decision, then the legality and the legitimacy of that decision suffers. Then we go to the Security Council, more pertinently, because the intervention in Niger falls squarely within Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter. Regional arrangements. But regional arrangements need to get the sanction of the UN under Chapter 7 for anything that we call the use of force. And the Niger intervention is to use force to restore democracy. My calculation is that Russia will veto any proposition for the UN resolution that says that it endorses the ECOWAS decision. China may abstain. Then we come to the A3, which is Ghana, that's the Africa 3 on the Council, Ghana, Mozambique, and Gabon. Granted that Ghana votes for it, it's not very likely that Gabon and Mozambique will vote. In other words, all the calculations are that the 9 that must vote for this resolution in the UN Council may not pertain or may not obtain. So Ghana's idea that we are a signatory party to the ECOWAS Treaty, 1993, and we're obliged to be part of any and all ECOWAS decisions, I think in law, in practice, may not hold water. And we should begin to ask whether the intervention in Niger serves our interest or doesn't serve our interest. Let me give you one reason why Ghana needs to think twice before it joins. The reason why we are going to Niger is because democracy has been violated, or democratic values of ECOWAS has been violated. Now, 4 out of the 11 heads of state of ECOWAS, because the 4 are the members who have been, 4 countries are now under sanction. So out of 15, we are left with 11. Out of the 11, 4 of them are non-democrats. And we need to bear that in mind. One is Benin, whose leader re-engineered the constitution in order to entrench himself in power. The second is Togo. And Togo's case is very, very interesting. In 2005, when Eyadema passed away from heart attack, per the Togolese constitution at the time, it should have been the president of the Senate, like our parliament speaker, who should have become the new president. The high command of the Togolese armed forces installed Faure Nyasimbe as the president. Is that part of the democratic values that ECOWAS advances? Remember, this was in 2005. So, Faure has been on the seat of power since 2005. Then in 2015, when it was time for him to leave, he re-engineered the constitution and then extended his stay in power. And he's still the president of Togo. Then go to Ivory Coast. Ouattara was at the center of the civil war, the one around which our late former president said, Zulfiasa. So Ouattara has been in power since 2011. When it was time for him to leave in 2020, he also re-engineered the constitution. Now he's going to serve another 2 terms, which take him to 2030. Then you go a couple of months ago in Senegal. Macky Sall was fighting with Abdoulaye Wade. You recall, all of us would recall. Macky Sall said, oh, I'm a Democrat. When I come to power, I'll serve my term, then I leave. Now Macky Sall comes, his term is over, or will be running out very soon. Then he says, no, I'm also changing the constitution to start a new set of terms. So how can non-democrats be part of a decision to go and restore democracy? This is what I'm beginning to call the just cause or the unjust cause for this conflict. The cause for going to war in Niger is not just. And under international law, all conflicts must have a just cause. So Ghana should look beyond just the letters in our constitution. It must also look at the spirit, the precedents, the history, and the morality of going to war. Because war, is known to be an immoral activity.
Indeed.
But there's nothing worse than going to kill human beings for the sake of political power.
Unfortunately. But we've received a statement from the ECOWAS earlier today about something that had happened in Niger, Kenal. And I'm going to seek your thoughts on it. That just put portions of the statement on the screen. It says that ECOWAS has learned with sadness various attacks by armed groups in the Republic of Niger that has led to the death of several Nigerian soldiers. ECOWAS condemns these attacks and conveys its deepest condolences to the people of Niger and the families of the soldiers who have lost their lives. And it continues that it will call on the CNSP military leadership in Niger to restore constitutional order in order to focus on the security of the country that has become increasingly fragile since the attempted coup d'etat against the democratically elected president Mohamed Bazoum. And bear in mind that there's a crucial meeting tomorrow of the security chiefs of ECOWAS. In fact, it's to Thursday and Friday here in Accra, Kenal. And you heard the Ghanaians in Niger as well. With all what's happening, they say if ECOWAS decides to intervene through the military, they stand the risk of being attacked. How concerning is this to see?
It's very much the risk that we need to address our minds to. Because all wars entail very significant levels of risk. So the safety and security of your citizens, not in Ghana, but within the borders of Niger, is something that you must put at the center of your decision to go or not to go. And we have the history of what do you call it? Of Liberia. You recall we went there because there were Ghanaians whose lives were in danger, other ECOWAS citizens, and we're going to, extricate them or evacuate them. Of course, we know now that was a ploy to get our sack stuck in Liberia. So that is an existential threat. The moment the balloon goes off, that ECOWAS has entered Niger, it's very likely that the Nigerian citizens will be targeting ECOWAS citizens. And even if ECOWAS manages to win a very quick victory, it does not rule out the possibility that some ECOWAS lives might be lost. Now, that is also part of the humanitarian crisis. This morning, a station called me. I cannot recall, because they thought that I was the MP. They were looking to talk to Honorable Avocat, that in his constituency, there are reports that Nigerians are now flooding into Ghana. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm Kenel Abuaji. I'm not, So already, out of the fear that ECOWAS might invade, the citizens are leaving Niger. And where are they going to? They are not going into the Atlantic Ocean. They are coming into the Guinea coastal states. That humanitarian exigency is not in our national interest. The trade is already suffering. The trade in onions, trade in cattle, trade in goats, and so on. These are things that we must begin to look at, or we should be looking at. Right. But more importantly, the security risk. The risk that if the intervention does not achieve a very quick outcome of just unseating the CNSP, the National Council for Safeguarding the Homeland, then it's going to undermine the cohesion or cohesiveness and the capacity and integrity of the armed forces of Niger. In other words, when you weaken the armed forces, you then create conditions for the terrorists
to thrive in there. Kind of first of all, I appreciate it. But Seydou, Abudu, finally, before I let you go, tell me about the access to food, water. By you, the Ghanaians living in Niger, how easy or difficult is it for you?
The situation is calm and we don't have any problem. We don't have any problem right now concerned about food and the rest. But if the ECOWAS can take the sanction out, I think it's going to be very good, because now all the borders has been closed. You know, many Ghanaians are trading with the onions, and many of them, they cannot cross the border, and many onions are getting spoiled. So this is a big problem to those who are trading in the onion. So that one is a big problem. The borders that they have been closed, it's a big problem to them. If there is anything that our leaders can do, they should try their best and take the sanctions out, so that if there is any peace talk, they can go through peace talk. I think it's going to help all the people who are living there.
Important call. Seydou Abudu, I thank you so much for staying up indeed to join us, because I understand that it's almost midnight in Niger. You're 1 hour ahead of us. Thank you, Seydou Abudu. He's the president of the Ghanaian community in Niger. To you, Colonel Festus Obuaji, thank you so much for your expert analysis of the situation there. Colonel Festus Obuaji is a security expert. Thank you so much for your time here on Ghana Tonight. And coming up next, as I indicated to you earlier, fuel prices are beginning to creep up significantly at the pumps, with some major OMCs already announcing upward adjustment. And that is concerning, to say the least. If you go to the major OMCs, talking about Goyle, Shell and others, you're seeing petrol selling at 13 cedis 50 pesos and diesel selling at 13 cedis 90 pesos. That's up from the earlier price of just about 12 cedis 90 pesos. So it's almost 1 cedi increase per liter. So about 90 to 93 pesos per liter increase. Now, if you want to understand how that impacts on a gallon of petrol, as we indicated, you multiply this 13.5 by 4.5. So this was the initial price, 12 cedis 95 pesos, and then it's been increased now to 13 cedis 90 pesos for diesel and 13 cedis 50 pesos for petrol. But you're spending now about 63 cedis on a gallon of petrol and almost 70 cedis on a gallon of diesel. Now, Duncan Amoah is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, joining us. Duncan, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First off, so you have consumers raising fundamental questions about the evidence of the impact of this Go for Oil program. Have you been able to see that or detect any significant impact of this G4O on the prices of petroleum products at the pumps?
Basically, the pricing curve is pointing upwards as we speak. And so as you would recall, the start of the month, August, saw an increment, which saw pump prices that initially were quoting 12 cedi 45, shoot up to 12 cedi 95, a difference of some 50 pesos. Then the second window of the same August period policy, by way of introducing or increasing taxes, neither can this be attributed to, as it were, the cedi's performance or the local currency being unstable. This is purely a function of international market price trading adjustments that has brought, as it were, some further increases in fuel prices that Ghanaians would have to pay for currently. So what is happening is not something that you can control. internally. These are international market price dynamics at play that you have to pay for, Alfred.
I see. Duncan, thank you so much for time here on Ghana Tonight. And let me just put it on record that the questions you're asking about the impact of this Gold for Oil program on the price of petroleum products at the pumps, tomorrow, the National Petroleum Authority, we're going to put these questions to them to get a clear understanding of whether there's been an impact of this Gold for Oil program on the price of petroleum at the pumps and how much we've been spending on this. It's important to get all of that information. But before we go, the staff of defunct GN Bank, they're demanding the restoration of the license of GN Bank. Let's hear from the leadership of the over 3,000 staff of the defunct GN Bank who addressed the press earlier today.
The receiver of the bank, the receiver of GN Savings, have been very lackadaisical and sluggish in safeguarding these assets. We recognize that the bank was faced with some liquidity challenges at certain points as a result of delays on the part of borrowers to settle their loan obligations on time. But a substantial portion of this credit default were due to the government's inability to honor its obligation to most of our customers who have executed jobs for some state institutions. We therefore passionately appeal to the President of the Republic to intervene by using his executive powers to urge the Governor of Bank of Ghana to restore the operating license of GN Savings.
So let's go on Zoom now. Professor John Gachi is the Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School. Professor Gachi, we've been focusing on the financial cost of this banking sector cleanup. This is the social cost with over 3,000. This is just GN Bank staff who have been rendered unemployed as a result of this situation. What has to be done in this instance in looking at the social cost of this particular financial sector cleanup that we saw?
The harm that the decision caused to individual families and the economy is so huge and has rendered a lot of people move from comfortable middle class to lower or to below the poverty line. As some people have actually engaged on a journey of some people have developed health conditions, and the decision was not taken considering the entire economy before it was taken. The decision was not sound, so to say. But I wonder how the Bank of Ghana can restore the licenses of those banks, and in particular the GM Bank, because any attempt to do that will come with compensation and many other issues. And I believe that can only come from the courts. So as it is now, I'm not sure that will be done. And but I'm sure that will be done one day and very soon to come.
So for these people, over 3,000, at least in the case of GN Bank, what will be the remedy for them?
To seek justice, and the court system will prescribe what should be done. Of course, if the court says the license should be returned, then that will be returned with all the ramifications surrounding it. So the Bank of Ghana has actually engaged in something that will be very catastrophic in the near future. because there are processes laid down to follow to revoke license of an institution. And so if those processes are not followed, they are not followed. It's just simple that you refuse to pay liabilities to the bank. You refuse to pay contractors who took money from the banks. And so long as they are not be able to pay for about 90 days, the Bank of Ghana will call for those loans to be crystallized into non-performing loan. And that will be eaten into the capital of the bank.
Of the banks.
And the capital will be eroded. And the Bank of Ghana will come out and say that you don't have capital to operate. So it's very simple. So is it true that the government of Ghana owe contractors who took money from that bank? The answer is yes. Did they pay? No. Why didn't they pay? And why that was not considered in the decision that led to the collapse of financial institutions?
Yeah.
So we have a huge problem ahead of us. And but I believe there will be justice for some of these banks, and that justice will have repercussion on the way the economy run. That will have repercussion on the standing of the Bank of Ghana. That
Professor Gojongachi, appreciate your time. Thank you very much. He's the Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School. I want to say thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. Join us same time tomorrow. I am Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.